Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a before 10 p.m. edition of the Missing Links
Let's
post-game
go.
podcast live stream thing. Man, there was only 37 fouls in this game, and I noticed immediately that it was moving significantly faster. I'm Andrew Dukowitz of Zone Coverage, and we got the OG, the proprietor of this delicatessen, Family Guy reference from a decade ago. Mitch Hansen, how's it going, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm happy to be talking about another Lynx win.
And for people who said, thank God Andrew wasn't on time, I live by a strict only nerds show up on time policy. So I am usually the second person to show up at the party, never the first. Mitch, I mean, let's just start off with like the super unfortunate side of this game before we get into more of the fun stuff. Emma goes down with what looks like a pretty severe knee injury. I mean, they formed the towel tent around her, looked like she was in a ton of pain, non-contact. It kind of has all of the makings of a I don't want to throw out actual injuries in case of jinxing her, but planting and twisting weird's never a good thing. And when you go down like that, it's easy to kind of assume what might have happened. But I mean, what's your kind of thoughts on Emma's injury and just like how much does that suck? Like 21 years old, new country, getting in the WNBA, and then this happens.
Well, all of that alone, or all of that said, she was playing great. Like she was having, yes, it's a small sample size of basically 2.5 games, but she was having a great start to the year, and you could definitely see the upside, and you could see what Cheryl and her staff saw when they wanted to bring her over. It's just unfortunate. I mean, you don't ever want to see anybody, I don't care who it is, anybody go down like that, let alone this early in the season, in your first WNBA season. Like it's just tough. And seeing her, well, we all saw the planting, like you had mentioned, but just immediately how both of her legs went up, and she just she essentially threw herself at Paige Beckers because she wasn't focused on what was happening anymore. So it's unfortunate. You could see as soon as she went down, she grabbed her knee, and they showed even a little bit afterwards she wasn't putting any pressure on it. She was essentially getting carried off. I mean, you don't want to assume that it's a tear of some sort, but whatever it is, it's not good, and it's going to be a lengthy injury if it's not season ending. So I hope we're all wrong, and I hope it's something that maybe is just a couple weeks or a couple months, but it's not looking good. So that's unfortunate. But
that's the tough part is like, you watch basketball enough, you see enough knee injuries, and it's like when it's a meniscus thing, usually it's, guy comes up or gal comes up kind of limping and messing with their knee and then gets subbed out. When it's, a hyperextension or something like that, usually they try and walk off on it, but it looked bad. And kind of the series of events afterwards, how the team acted kind of on the sidelines. I mean, even like, I think their athletic trainer, Chuck, is that his name?
Yeah, Chuck Rada.
Chuck goes running out there right away. Like all signs point to something not great. And again, just like, I always think of the human side of it first, of just like, man, she got signed with her Czech national team teammate to come over to the US for the first time, play in the W. They're going to be in FIBA this fall. Like, just gut wrenching for someone that's so young, which hopefully she'll be able to work her way back and kind of continue to be a good, like, play, like, have a good career. But yeah, just sucks, right?
Yeah, it does. And you also hate to see a player go down like this early on in their career. I know you mentioned it earlier too, of just her being 21 years old. You never know what a knee injury or any major injury could do to a player in their career trajectory. So that's unfortunate too. If she could come back and be as she was. I mean, there's a lot of players we've seen that have done so. But you never know. I mean, it's a major injury. If this is the case of a major injury, major injuries like this are not, easy mentally or physically to come back from. And that can take a toll on a lot of players, and it absolutely could change what she looks like, or her, like I said, her trajectory for her career, which I'm saying that, and I hope it's not the case, but it's tough. It's tough to see that for sure.
Yeah. Again, like it just, everything about it sucks. Like my mind always goes, like even like the rehab of it, of like, it's one thing if you're, like Carly Samuelson lives in the United States, has been around the country, like she ends up getting traded and then rehabs in, California, where she lives in the off season, and it is what it is. Like for Emma, it's like, do you go back to Czechia? Do you stay with the team? Like it's just, there's so many more complicated things. And I really hope, like you do, that it's less serious, but just yeesh.
And I know one thing I know Cheryl and the entire organization and just the staff in general, they take care of the players. Like they will take care of her. If Emma wants to stay here, they're gonna give her the best treatment that she can get. If she likes to go back home, there's nothing. I mean, you can still help, but there's if she wants to do that, she can obviously do that. But if she's here, Minnesota will treat her right. Cheryl will treat her right, and they'll get her the proper care and the attention that she needs, depending on, we'll see what exactly the injury is, but it didn't look good by any means.
Yeah, which, to be clear, Cheryl after the game confirmed no new updates, nothing to report on it. I tried to sneak a question into Courtney, because usually she's my gal to sneak a question in of like, hey, how is she in the locker room after someone goes down injured, but they cut the press conference a little short. I'm guessing they were running late for a bus or something like that. But on that note, I do want to pivot to more positive news. They are 2-1. I am going to run a couple ads here pretty quick off the bat, though, just let's refocus and pivot to positivity and move on from kind of the Emma of it all, because that, man, just sucks. But ads are a good pivot, right, Mitch?
Absolutely. Company man.
Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard, and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. I hope Nate Pence knows that ad will live on forever, solely because I photoshopped the Lynx picture in there. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really proud of that. So Nate Pence, you're welcome for capturing that picture off of Google Images. If you just Google Nate Pence, that's what comes up. Weird enough. Real quick, Belkers just adds, if the Lynx are down 3 players, can they sign an additional player under hardship contract now? Terry Horstman, Hitting the Hardwood Network, gentlemen, messaged us just a little bit ago that if Emma is done for the year, they could suspend her contract, thus opening up space to sign another minimum hardship contracts under the new CBA. I don't know if they were always under went against the cap in the old CBA, but the old CBA, a 2-week contract at the veterans minimum was like $1,800. Like, you can kind of weasel that through the CBA. The new CBA, when a vet minimum contract is like $300,000, 2 weeks is like $15,000. So the Lynx have $19,000 in salary cap space. I would kind of assume we're probably going to see a lot of their developmental players play until Dorka and Fee come back, and maybe they sign a hardship contract if Emma is out for the year and they suspend it. But I'll be honest, it's new CBA kind of sucks for this type of stuff. Like it's just going to be difficult for a lot of teams. I do want to just let's just talk Olivia Miles a little bit here first. 21 assists through 3 games, the 4th most all time, I think got tweeted out. She also only has 8 assists. So this is a player who had 1.9 a 1.9 assist to turnover ratio in college that has gotten significantly better at decision makings by going up a skill level. Like it's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what she's been doing, and I didn't expect her to hit the ground running as fast as she has, but I mean, the way she plays the game, her vision. I know Fee on the broadcast was talking to our guy Michael Grady and LaChina Robinson about just her court vision and just her playmaking ability. Very similar, honestly, not to keep talking about this, but very similar to Lindsay Whalen, I think. And you can see the similarities in their game. Courtney maybe is a little bit more aggressive offensively with scoring, but that what she's been able to do has been incredible, and she has the mentality. She has the way she carries herself, like just everything about her I've been very impressed so far. But back to what you were talking about with the 21 assists. Yeah, Alexa Philippou from ESPN had reported that tied for the 4th most through players' first 3 games in WNBA history. She's also the 5th player in WNBA history to average 15 points and 5 assists through her first 3 games, joining Caitlin Clark, Candace Parker, Sue Bird, and Nikki McCrae. So that's a pretty damn good list to be a part of, and hopefully she can continue to keep that rolling because the Lynx are going to need it.
It's 2 things. Like the turnover thing is still the thing that blows my mind. Of like, you are playing in a faster, stronger, better league, and you are making less mistakes. Like those things don't. Like, look at Caitlin Clark, and this is for whatever Indiana fans lurking in here. Like, Caitlin Clark turns the ball over an obnoxious amount of times. Really good at a lot of things, but like going from Iowa to the WNBA, her turnovers spiked. That's how it normally goes. I'm just shocked that Miles is just like these pocket passes she was making to Natasha Howard tonight, the like over the top pass to K-Mac, and I think Mac bricked that one, but like I'm sold. 3 games in, I'm sold.
Well, and just wait until Fee comes back and even Dorka. Dorka just opens things up a little bit more so that they can kind of dive and dash into the lane and open up those opportunities. So that we're not even talking about with them being included. And I do think they talked about this on the broadcast too, a little bit of Courtney Williams moving to the 2. I do think that's been really beneficial for Minnesota so far. It takes, Court's talked about this too in the past. It kind of takes her mind off of being a point guard. She can just kind of go out there and play, and that's where she thrives. And that's what we've seen so far. But it allows her to be a playmaker, which is what Minnesota needs her to be, especially without Fee in the lineup. But I've been surprised with how well that's worked so far too. Just that lineup change. In that different look. But it's opened things up. Olivia Miles being at point guard has just opened everything up for everybody else. And you can even see like tonight, Natasha Howard was kind of, she was loving it. She was loving having that freedom and that, having that guard that could get her the ball like that. And we saw her benefit from it tonight, as well as obviously Nia Coffey played well too. But it's helped everybody, and it will. We're only 3 games in, so it will continue to improve too, which is Lynx fans should be very excited about.
I mean, it's also, you mentioned Howard looking like she's pretty happy about it. I mean, the level of difficulty to just stop on a dime and make a bounce pass that's just perfectly on time, on target, in rhythm, like layup worthy.
Yeah.
It's
Wraparound
just
defenders most of the time too.
it's just elite. Like,
Yeah.
and I had been preaching all off season of like Fudd makes the most sense. Stick her behind K-Mac, you have your replacement. If she's
Yeah.
gone, take Fam, generational big.
Mhm.
Apologies to Olivia Miles because this was the right pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the same boat as you. I was, you know, I was heavily on the AZ Fudd train. I wanted, obviously, she went number one, so Minnesota couldn't even have selected her. But you know, if she was available, I would have taken, if let's say Olivia and AZ are both available before the draft, I would say take AZ Fudd. And I've, you know, I will admit that I was wrong there. It's telling now that we saw, like, maybe in the last month, maybe even a little bit longer than that, but within the last month leading up to the draft, one name that just could continue to rise was Olivia Miles. And
Yeah.
I think everybody was kind of wondering, not, and this isn't a knock on Olivia Miles, but wondering why, or why, you know, what's the reasoning behind this. And I think we're all seeing it now, what everybody else, you know, saw in her as well, with her playmaking ability, and just, you know, a player that can come and contribute right away. And that's exactly what she's done with Minnesota. And, you know, we could be looking at this. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but, you know, we could be looking you know, at this, you know, selection in a year or two from now and being like, wow, it's another Nafisa Collier type of selection for Minnesota, for example. But yes, there's a long ways to go. She will hit her, you know, she'll ride the roller coaster throughout the year, I would imagine, as all rookies do. But she's been very impressive so far.
I mean, first off, McKinney, I had 5 minutes of doubt about Olivia, and it was caught on the camera at the draft party. A lot of other people, from Nivens to Nivens to Jude to Amanda, everyone apologizing to Olivia Miles. I'm right there with you guys. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I looked at Olivia Miles and I was like, that is a rookie point guard that I don't know if Cheryl's going to be able to like tolerate a rookie point guard that has 4 turnovers a game and make some boneheaded decisions and doesn't play the best defense. And Cheryl, this is why she's Cheryl Reeve, right? Like, she just looks at this, and I mean, she's talked about the defense a couple times of just saying, like, I don't think Olivia is a bad defender. I think she was just kind of allowed to be bad. That's the essence of it. I'm paraphrasing it, but like, she wasn't held to the same standard, which, like, Cheryl Reeve's gonna hold her to a much higher standard. And it's kind of the same thing with turnovers. She was like, you know, in the WNBA, she's learned that like turnovers have a lot more meaning in them, which again, like, checks out. You mentioned the Courtney Williams of it all. There was a lot of kind of steam online. I wouldn't call it smoke, of like, oh, how's Courtney going to handle being, you know, giving up kind of the keys to a rookie point guard? She seems like she's loving it, right?
You can tell. So I think Courtney loves playing whatever position it means she's on the basketball court. She could be playing the 5 and she'd absolutely love it, I think. But I do, you know, she talked about, because her year before she came to Minnesota, with Chicago, was her first year at leading point guard. And she talked about it in her first year, even somewhat in her second year, last season in Minnesota, that she likes playing point guard. She loves initiating the offense, and she likes playing point guard. This year is a little different, where she's been she's been upfront about it. You know, last year, or maybe the last 2 years, when people asked her about it, she's like, yeah, I love it. This year, she's been very...
Mitch, I had a running bit with her the entirety of 2024, me asking her after every game if I can call her a point guard yet. She did not want to be called a point guard for over a year.
Right. And you can just tell this year that it's different, and she absolutely loves it. And I think part of it is Cheryl's offense isn't easy to run. And I know guards have said that in the past. That's why a lot of the younger guards haven't panned out in Minnesota, because it's not easy to run, and it's not easy to be a point guard in a Cheryl Reeve, you know, led team or offense. Just because she expects so much, and she expects you to basically read her mind and be in her mind. And that's what Lindsay Whalen was able to do. That's what it seems like Olivia Miles is able to do so far, just because her IQ is so high. Not saying that Courtney couldn't do that, but you have to constantly be thinking. And I think that took away sometimes the spark that we're seeing out of Courtney right now. Is she's just out there playing. She's out there playing free. And I think that's the Courtney Williams that Minnesota needs. That's the player that, Minnesota was hoping they were getting when she was playing leading point guard, but there is just a different aspect to it. And I think she's really taken. I don't think her feelings were hurt at all that there was another point guard. I think if Minnesota wanted to put Natasha Howard at starting point guard, I think Courtney Williams would have been perfectly fine with that. I just think she's very happy with where she's at, and it's more of her natural position that she's played her entire career. So she knew it wouldn't take much of an adjustment like it was on the other side when she flipped the point guard. But it's been great so far, and I was skeptical on how it would fit and how it would work. But I don't know. It's been so far so good. And I wanted to touch on a little bit too of, you were talking about the defensive side with Olivia Miles. That is something that she's got to work on and improve, of course. And we're only 3 games in, so we won't see that for a little bit. But when you have players like Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride standing next to you on the court, a lot of that stuff can be masked to some extent. And I think that absolutely helps. Even if they would have, Lana Smith or whatever in the paint too, that would help as well. But, having those two in particular, they can focus on the top scorers from the other team, the most, the potent players. Even if it is a guard, Courtney Williams can kind of take that on defensively. But I think that masks it a little bit. And once Olivia gets to that point where she's a solid defender or, improves defensively, this team's going to be hard to play against, because they're already looking like a great defensive team, and there's room to improve.
I do want to get to kind of the Natasha Howard. I put it as a conundrum as the in the description, but just to kind of drive your point home too, of like, she will get better. She's also going to start showing up on scouting reports. I'm guessing that blow by kind of quick turn move that she has is probably going to start getting hedged off. Some of these pocket passes people are going to be a little bit more ready for, and then it's kind of go time, right? Game 12 or 13, when there's enough scouting on her for teams to get prepared for her, then it's going to be okay, well, how does Liv adjust? Because I think that's something that Diamond was so hurt that maybe it's unfair to say that she fell victim to it. But once teams kind of figured out that she's not a great ball handler and she's all speed, things got harder for her. Honestly, even mid-season, once the opposing teams kind of figure out more of this new pace of play attacking offense that Cheryl's running, things will probably get a little bit more difficult. But Liv seems like somebody that's going to be able to figure that chess match out.
Yeah, and she will hit her road bumps with exactly what you're talking about, when teams have a little bit more film on her and kind of game planned against her. And especially when it comes to a rookie, we might notice that more than we would with anybody else, just because it's going to be her first time seeing a lot of this stuff, and seeing the different looks, seeing the different schemes against her. Which is a great compliment to her, because teams don't scheme against every single player. They usually they key in on those main players, and she's becoming one of those. But with her IQ and just her playmaking ability, I think she can kind of overcome a lot of that, because even if a team takes away her scoring ability, she can turn into just that primary ball handler and distributor, and kind of assist the no pun intended, assist the offense that way. And there will be games where she needs to just focus on scoring. We've seen that with Courtney too, where some games she's very quiet, but she's doing all the other things at the guard spot. And Olivia will do the same thing, depending on the different opponents in different looks that they're providing with her. But the nice thing is too, she's getting all of this experience, and maybe she's getting that confidence, I should say. She's getting a lot of confidence right now with her style of play, so that when she does hit that time, and at the same time, Nafisa Collier will be coming back too.
Yeah.
So
that
helps. I mean, and by the time we get to, let's say, game 10, where she's seeing a lot of these different packages and maybe hitting that kind of roadblock or the road bump, you're getting Nafisa Collier back soon, and then teams are going to completely flip the way that they're scheming against the Lynx. So that will help in itself, and I think that'll help her overcome that too.
Trucking, just to catch up on chat, how much time do we think Emma will miss? Hopefully not much, but the injury didn't look good is kind of how I would answer that.
Yeah.
A couple of people have brought up the 2025 Lynx front court that is currently employed by the Dallas Wings. We can touch on that. A $2 million front court that gave up a ton of points in the paint. Raheem brings up, you think Land wishes she was in Minnesota? Amanda with the perfect retort of she'll do something expensive to feel okay about it. I'll be honest, now that kind of the salary cap stuff has come out, and like her hoops stats and Spotrac have, more information on like what these players were signed for. Like for the Lynx to get Lan, you're either letting K-Mac or Courtney walk and just signing Lan in their place.
Yeah.
Or you're not signing Howard or Coffey, which then you're like, this is already a really kind of shallow team. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yikes. I think it's just the reality. They probably offered Lan like 800,000, and she was like, no, I'm going to make double that or 400,000 more than that in Dallas. I mean, I guess just what's kind of your thoughts? Ben brings up Jess was -19, Lan was -9. I sent the group chat earlier today, just Lan's kind of slash box stats from the first two games. I mean, it's early, 3 games in, it's real early, but
it is. It honestly is not. I mean, I don't know if it's fit. I don't know if it's her still learning the scheme. I don't know what it is, but she's been struggling. She hasn't looked, all that great early on. Even just looking at the box score tonight, like, I mean, Minnesota out-rebounded Dallas 31-26, points in the paint 48-40.
Been there.
If you would, if you would have told me that, let's say you set a scenario this offseason of you get Nia Coffey and Natasha Howard, or you retain Alana Smith and Jess Shepard, or even just Alana Smith, and then you compare both of them, I would say the first time they're facing off, it's going to be, Alana Smith and Jess Shepard are absolutely going to control the paint, and they're going to own that matchup. That wasn't the case tonight. That was almost, the exact opposite. And, I was surprised. I expected, seeing the, when Jess and Lan signed with Dallas, I'm like, they're going to be tough to play. They're going to be tough to, to face defensively, and they can hurt you from a bunch of different ways. So far, that hasn't been the case, and it's. I don't know if it will change. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll end up being a great fit. But she's struggling right now, and I don't know exactly the reason. But I don't.
Abby Touche. I don't know if she can spell the ball. That's no bad ideas in a brainstorm.
She did look like Batman tonight.
I mean, all right. So we're going on a side quest here real quick. Why can they make masks that look awesome in the NBA? Like Dante's black mask actually looked cool. Like some of the clear masks in the NBA, like you hardly notice they're wearing a mask. And then for women, and this goes for Rhea Ripley too, WWE Women's Champion. Wait, World Heavyweight? Yeah, World Heavyweight Champion. I'm WWE credentialed now, so you get these in here now, Mitch. Like they just look terrible. Like, why can't we get better masks for women? Is it like a preference? Like my wife brought up a good point of like, she was like, I think guys just are too afraid to look uncool. so they won't get the big eye holes, even though it's probably functional better. But also, like, I mean, Batland, as Ben says, it's a tough look, right?
Fatland. Yeah, I don't get it. And maybe that's something she wanted. Maybe that's, like the style that she wanted. Who knows? But yeah, it amazes the hell out of me how it looked like they just strapped on some like literally Velcro on her face, and we got LeBron James over here literally wearing a Batman mask, and yeah, I don't get it. It eventually we'll get there, hopefully, but it's apparently not happening yet.
Raheem, I did not listen to Jose Fernandez's press conference. I did Cheryl's and then the players and hopped on here. Abby, you're right. By 2030, I might have credentials to everything. Maybe not like baseball. Baseball's tough. And hockey, I hear, is the sport played on skates. Can't confirm or deny it. Haven't been to one of those in a decade. But let's talk Natasha Howard, because the free throws this year have been a journey.
Yep.
The turnovers have been tough. I think she had 7 tonight. My phone died, so please someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. But then she's just awesome scoring around the rim. She's awesome getting rebounds. Like everything this team needed last year, she's just great at. But then there's those things where it's like, whoa. Yeah. Turnovers are tough. Missed free throws have been rough. I guess just kind of, what's your thoughts on Tosh? Because you've been covering this league a lot longer than I have.
I mean, when they first signed her, I loved the signing. I think she's a great fit. And I do like how she's paired with Nia Coffey too. That'll obviously change when Nafisa Collier and Dorky Uhas come back too. But I like her. She is to me, a veteran Jessica Shepard, where she does a lot of the grunt work, and she's that physical presence in the paint. She can take over offensively like she did tonight. But the downside is, the biggest thing for me are those turnovers. And those, as Ben mentioned, she had 3 blocks too, which, she did great defensively in that area. The 7 turnovers that has to be corrected. That goes without saying, but I do think the more that happens, that's going to really hurt Minnesota late in games, and that's going to hurt Minnesota later in the season. That's where that's the small margin that you have where that separates the teams who are going home early and the teams who are making a deep run. That's something that has to change. She'll be the first to admit that can't happen, but I mean that's tough. That ends up hurting the team, and it could be the difference between winning and losing more often than not. Thankfully, it didn't have any impact in the game tonight, but that's something that has to be corrected. But I do really like just her ability to take things over offensively if need be. That's a very valuable thing to have. And her and Nia Coffey really have both of that. They came up with some big buckets at different points in this game, and as we know, Nia Coffey has had some big moments in the first 3 games this season. So it will be. I'm curious to see what'll happen when Fee does come back, and even as Dorka gets back into the rotation, how things are gonna look with that group. If I had to guess, it would probably result in. I mean, Fee's going to obviously start when she comes back, but maybe Nia Coffey and Dorka coming off the bench. We'll see how that looks. Maybe it's even, maybe they end up starting Olivia, Courtney, Kayla, Fee, and Natasha Howard, and then maybe Courtney Williams ends up being more of a primary guard with the second unit. We'll see how all of that works out, but these two players are going to be very valuable down the stretch if they can stay healthy. I really do believe that. Just because they're battle tested, they've been there, they've done all this, and that's so valuable, especially when you get down the stretch of the year and into the postseason. But it's still early, but there's some stuff to definitely shore up and fix with specifically with Natasha Howard too.
It just feels like, again, so many people left that it's still like
Yeah.
shell shock, I think, of like who is on this team.
Yeah.
But it just feels like when they're going to be fully healthy, which hopefully, again, hopefully Emma's back healthy and that's not a long-term thing. But like, even if Emma's out, like you do have honestly, your idea of like Court playing with the backups, like sign me up for that. Court's going to
Mhm.
be able to cook backup point guards.
Yeah.
And then as long as she's starting and closing games, I don't think she's going to have too much to complain about with that.
Mhm.
Coffee and Howard, if those are your like 6-7 off the bench, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they just have a lot of lineup flexibility, which
They do.
the
And
difference
that's
between this year and last year is like they can now play big and physical. Like
yeah.
it just always felt like with Lan and Jess, even if they went big, it was never like that imposing
Mhm.
type of big, right?
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of that in Dallas right now. We're seeing exactly what we saw in Minnesota last year. And I do like the thing I like about this Lynx team too is when they do get Dorka Juhas back, you can play big, but you can also stretch the floor, which
Mhm.
doesn't happen very often when it comes to a big lineup or a larger lineup like that. But and that's the thing. That's the case with yes, you'll have Natasha Howard in the paint, but that's the case with Nia Coffey, and that's the case with Dorka Juhas. That was the case with
Yeah.
Emma to some extent too. But they have the ability to play inside out and outside in, which more often than not they're playing outside in. But having those two stretch the floor is huge, and also having the ability to have them in the paint is they're capable of doing both. But that's just so valuable, especially when you have a guard like Olivia Miles too, that's looking for that, she's looking for that pass, she's looking for that dash, she's looking for the, somebody cutting to the rim, and that's exactly what Fee loves to do.
Mhm.
K-Mac likes to do that as well, and obviously Courtney, but that's extremely valuable to have, and just bringing those defenders out. I'd say if Jess and Lan were on this team, and we're seeing it, like I said, with Dallas, you don't have that same flexibility because those two are very primarily in the paint. Lan, to some extent, she can stretch the floor and kind of be on the outside, but those two are primarily in the paint, and that kind of, when you have a guard like Olivia Miles and an offense like Minnesota has, it's more attractive, I think, to have the roster they have right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's easier, hindsight, it's easier to say now than it was in the off season, but I really do like this team and just the pieces that Cheryl's brought in they all seem to work very well together. And I was skeptical, I'll be honest. I didn't know what to expect with this team. It just kind of seemed like they were pieced together, but they were pieced together in a very strategic way, as Cheryl Reeve always does. So it's credit to her.
Which I mean, even the players, like I've been talking Tony up a lot all preseason because I just have a lot of faith in like just grizzled vet transferring to being a grizzled vet in the WNBA. Like she let's say Courtney goes down for like 5 games. Like you do
Yeah.
have Tony, you can move Liv to the point guard and you're fine. Like let's say Fee doesn't come back until August and Dorka's back. Now you have Coffee and Howard. You can play inside out. You can switch those two on a dime. If you're really getting cooked by physicality, I mean, Ola did a good job against AT, against the Sun. Like even defensively, it's just they have options this year where last year it was like, well, that's a big team. We just got to outpace them and try and outscore them.
Right.
And honestly, I kind of agree with you. Like this roster does make more sense than last year's. It still comes down to like the arms race of Vegas and New York just stocking up on talent that I don't know if they'll be able to like fully compete. But again, kind of like I was saying all off season, you're a twisted ankle away from being in the finals if you can just get into the playoffs. Like this is the team that's going to win around.
Well, and a lot of those players that you did mention in that depth, they're going to have to step up at different points because you're going to have, I mean, this is no secret. Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams are getting up there in age. They're going to need to take games off. They're going to need to rest. There's some games they won't be playing their normal minutes because they need to manage that workload so that they're not gassed by the end of the year. And those players are going to have to step up, and they'll have their moments, as Cheryl always tends to do. Every so often, there's a player that doesn't play often, and then she'll end up playing 25 minutes in a game, and kind of surprise everybody. So there will be moments. Yes, yeah, exactly. there will be moments, but I do like the flexibility they have, and also, not to go too far ahead, but also the flexibility salary-wise that they're going to have for next year. If some of these players don't pan out, they can move on. And Minnesota just seems like they're in a really good spot right now. We'll see if the strong start continues in how that all plays out. But this team looks better than I thought they would through 3 games. That's for dang sure.
I mean, we're going to talk about this probably at length as the season goes on, but let's be honest, the Disney ESPN deal just increased by $1 billion or whatever it was. Wasn't it $1 billion? I think it was $1 billion. Went from 2.2 to 3.2. That's going straight to the salary cap. A lot of teams that made very poor decisions this year are going to get bailed out for that. But there are teams like the Lynx who now can re-sign fee and another max contract if the salary bumps up to 10 million, which again, credit to Cheryl. I know the fee stuff will still be a storyline all season, as it should be, because 1-year contract with your superstar, but I guess we'll kind of close with that. How pumped does Fee have to be watching this on the bench? On the sideline of I'm gonna just get layups all year.
You can tell she absolutely loves, especially Olivia Miles running this offense, and you can see she's chomping at the bit to get in there. I am really looking forward to seeing how all of that pans out. And obviously Fee will fit fine in whatever you surround her with, but especially when it comes to Olivia Miles, I'm excited to see how that plays out. And when you were talking about with the offseason and you could say lack of moves for Minnesota, or just the change of players on this roster. I mean, I got to give credit to Cheryl for not doing what other GMs did, and I don't want to say panicking, but just dishing out money because it's there. She stayed patient, and she didn't make any drastic emotional moves. And so far it's panned out. Yes, it's early. It's 3 games in. Things could go south, or they could continue. But as of right now, it looks like that paid off, and that patience paid off. And it's a credit to Cheryl and her staff for continuously looking around the league too, and just scouting different players, knowing what's out there, and not having that. Not panicking that they need to re-sign all these players, or, oh God, we're losing all these players. We gotta start throwing out some money. They could have easily done that. And I know that they tried for some players, but they've tried for selective players. And they weren't just throwing money at everybody. But they didn't end up panning out, but what they gotten as a result has paid off so far.
First off, the Winsider himself stops in. Yes, Howard does look 6 years younger and is going to look really good next to Fee. Let's just be honest. It's going to be impressive. Jude also adds in overseas scout helps. Shout out Rachel Gallagher. That's who they hired, right?
Rachel Galligan. Yep.
Galligan. That's what it was. Not Gallagher. Yep. I'm so tired. Anyway,
RG, she's the GOAT. RA will attest to that.
We not have basketball seasons overlap.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight this comment from Nivens, though, of just Miles keeping Fee in Minnesota. I mean, if this truly was, as Cheryl has described, of Fee making a cautious decision that she has every right to do to explore free agency, keep her options over, watching what Liv has done so far has to make this offseason a lot more clear when you're looking at it of again, salary's going to go up. We might have enough money to add a big piece. We have Liv, Court, K-Mac.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it makes
Fia's,
that re-signing a lot easier, I think.
yeah. Fia's never really played with a point guard like this. Like at least in her WNBA career, she hasn't had a point guard like Olivia Miles. So it's something new for her too. I don't know. I think it will be great. I think it'll be a great fit, and you can tell she's chomping at the bit, like I mentioned, to get in. And yeah, as Ben said, Fee said she wanted a point guard, and she certainly got one. So I do think that, I don't blame Fee for taking a 1-year deal. I maybe would have done the same thing, just see how this season, because she was probably like the rest of us. She's a little uncertain on what's going on, how this roster is going to work, how, the construction of everything, maybe the international players, the rookie point guard. It could go, with all of that said, that could go south fast, just on just looking at it on paper. But I don't blame her for taking a 1-year deal. And now, if it ends up being a place she wants to stay in, they can, if Olivia Miles continues on an upward trajectory, this could be a very attractive place to play for some free agents too. And we all know how well connected Fee is with the players, as well as Cheryl, but specifically with Fee and K-Mac and Court, they could bring some players here. It's just a matter of what they can do this year, showcase this year, and build towards next year.
I mean, if there's one thing that has been true across men's basketball, women's basketball, bigs want to go play with a pass first point guard. Like, it's a fact. It's a fact of life in the NBA is if you got one of those point guards. I mean, that's why Chris Paul has always had bigs clamoring to go play for him or play with him. Steve Nash used to always have people that wanted to play with him in Phoenix and Dallas. Jason Kidd, on the W side, I mean, Asia might not be Asia without Chelsea Gray. Sue Bird always had people wanting to play with her. Tarasi always had people chomping at the bit. Like, if Liv is that type of talent, which 3 games in, we can preface it as many times as we can. Sample size is early, but if your Fee, it's going to be real hard to leave here if she has a rookie of the year type of season. Mitch, we're almost at.
If I could just add one more thing too, look at the dynasty era. I'm not comparing this team to the dynasty era. I'm not saying that this team is a start of a dynasty.
They were historically the best analytical regular season team in history.
Yeah, but look at
they're a dynasty.
The pillars of that team were, you had Lindsay Whalen leading the charge. You had Maya Moore that could do it all, and then you had a big in Sylvia Fowles in the paint. If Minnesota can get a big, I'm not saying they'd be the same as this, but you have that same structure right now. You have those 3 building blocks, and then you have a player like K-Mac that's out on the perimeter. You have, another bruiser maybe in the paint, like the Lynx had with Rebecca Brunson. Not saying that you're going to get a replication of that, but when you look at the nuts and bolts of both of those teams, these teams are similar. I mean, Minnesota has about 2/3 of that puzzle right now with Olivia Miles and Lisa Collier, but that is the recipe that Cheryl has found success with, and you can see that it's kind of starting. It's the start of that potentially right now, and we'll see if anything ends up coming to fruition with that, but.
Jeremy
and Simone, Simone.
I was going to say he had Simone.
Yes,
and my comp for K-Mac is always Moan, like just a player that could score 30 if she wanted to, but just knows for the good of the group she's going to score 15 to 16, play good defense, do everything right. Like, they already have Moan taken care of. Like, that's K-Mac on this team, in my opinion.
One of the best personalities you'll ever come across, Simone Augustus. She is an absolute gem.
The few times I've gotten to talk to her off to the side over the last couple of years, she is just awesome. Like, just awesome. Yeah, also, like, really good poet. Super cool. Fun fact.
Delightful really poet. Is. Yes.
All right, let's see here. Jeremy, I just want to catch up on chat real quick. Do you think we would be better if Land stayed with Miles? I don't. And that's more of if Land stays, you're not getting Howard and Coffee, and Coffee's been amazing, and Howard, they don't win this game without her. And Lan, this is probably one of those games where she would get like 8 points and 6 rebounds and like 3 assists and 5 stocks and get hit in the face a bunch and probably end up losing it. But I think the combo of Coffee and Howard kind of outweighs Lan. Mitch, thoughts?
No, I agree. I do agree with that. I mean, Lan would be, seeing her with Olivia Miles would be a lot of fun, I think. But when it comes to what Minnesota got value wise for the money that they got or money that they spent, I would rather have two starting players like Minnesota has right now in Coffee and Howard overspending money on Lan. This offseason I was maybe on the other side where I thought Minnesota should re-sign her. I thought she'd be re-signed here. But knowing what she ended up getting and and just how that money all works, this is definitely the better situation. You can see what it might lead to beyond this too, which is even more enticing. They're not strapped down. They're not tied down to this max deal. And that's a very valuable thing to be in when everybody else is dishing out max contracts and just dishing out money left and right. But I've been very pleased with what Nia Coffey and Natasha Howard have done so far in Minnesota.
Just to catch up a little bit more, Jude, Masha, and Lan with Miles. That would have been fun, but Masha doesn't sound like is playing stateside this year.
No.
Raheem, don't mean to sound crazy. Don't be shocked if bets can be had. I mean, maybe weird things happen in the WNBA more than I think any other league. CJ still worried that McBride and Court are going to run themselves out. I'm not going to say that word on YouTube because it gets age restricted. But I mean, certainly they could. I do think as long as they get like Dorka back in the foreseeable future or like Fee comes back in a couple weeks, like they'll be all right. And a couple people have brought up Land's missed layups. Yep. Howard made a lot of those very same layups. Most important comment of the entire night, though, Abby Lynx. I'm so glad this game was earlier and this is wrapping up closer to 10:30.
You and us both.
Oh my gosh, I have an 8:30 start Wolves game on Friday or tomorrow, and I need these noon Lynx games to come like as soon as possible because I am a man who enjoys being to bed by 9 p.m. and that has not happened very long. Last one I want to get to, Jeremy asked, do we know how long Dorka will be sidelined? No timetable. That's the last Cheryl said. I'm sure I'll be talking to her on Saturday and I'll probably ask her again and get told it's no timetable still, but we'll keep asking. Mitch, anything you want to get off your chest before we get out of here? Where can the great people find you?
You can find me all across the wonderful social media world. M_Hansen13 on X. I don't remember what my Blue Sky handle is, but you can find me on Blue Sky. You can find, I'm going to be working on hopefully probably this weekend, potentially tomorrow, working on a new piece at Hitting the Hardwood. So you can check out all of our content there. And of course you can find my work at Winsider and Canis Hoopus as well. But follow me on social media and you'll get it all in one spot. Or you can subscribe to, you can become a patron, part of our Hitting the Hardwood Patreon community. And you will get that all sent to your inbox or subscribe to our newsletter. But I had to throw that in there.
Last plug. We are going to be doing something new with Patreon this year.
Yep.
Where every Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how forgetful I am going to be posting a call all, like just, hey, what are your questions? Then me, Mitch, and Terry will just answer it in like a Q&A format, giving our answers to any of the questions that we get and throw that behind the paywall. So there's at least some more value there. I also am planning on doing some more like vlogging stuff of like what it's like doing this type of stuff to throw behind the paywall. But Patreon, there is going to be some bonus stuff this year that rewards you guys for spending your hard-earned dollary dues so that we can do what we love, because we appreciate all of you. We'll be back.
We're excited too to have a couple different contributors joining too, to cover Wolves, Lynx, and Gophers. So you'll be seeing their names coming up here shortly, but they will be also contributing to help us cover all three areas. So looking forward to that too.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get out of here. If anyone joined into this late, does get posted up on YouTube and X. Soon as I hit end stream, if you need some bedtime serenades, yeah, let's go with serenading. The soothing dulcet tones of my voice. If you can wait until tomorrow morning, that'd be the 15th, Friday. This does get posted up on pretty much everywhere you get your podcast now at 7 a.m. That's Mitch. I'm Andrew. We'll be back on Sunday, and I don't have my phone, so I can't tell you who's the guest, but I bet there'll be a good one. I think it's Terry, actually. So maybe
boo!